A very wonderful afternoon to all our listeners across the country today. This is In the Polity on iPower 102.7 FM. You know I will do it every time, every Friday, 4 p.m. We'll bring you a review of major events and speeches across the country in the last 1 week. My name is Alaba Adeyemi, and I'm telling you, welcome. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's edition as I bring you a recap of several major events across our country this week, in the last 1 week. Thank you very much. I will be right back.
Let's try music to excellence. All right. Right now, let's get started with the screening of the Minister for Power. The Minister for Power said several things on the floor of the House, but let me give you an audio of the most notable thing that the man said at the screening.
Understanding of how government work. Distinguished senators, with your permission, the Senate President, sir, let me begin with a simple truth. Power is not just a sector. It is foundation of productivity, dignity, and national confidence. And by no means, I'm not taking this as a simple responsibility. This is one of the biggest daunting tasks that we're faced with as a nation. For decades, we have had plans, reforms, investments, transitions. Yet, the lived experience of many Nigerians remain inconsistent. Supply, estimated billing, and uncertainty. Mr. President's nomination of my person to lead as Minister of Power, I don't take it simply, and I don't take it lightly. I believe it is based on my determination as an individual, my reform experience, and my ability to take and foster tough decisions.
That was the Minister of Power right now during the screening that took place this week. Let me take you to a different event this week. Some of these events are funny, some are disturbing, some are enlightening. But every one of them we shall review one after the other. Let me. One of the things that happened on the floor of the House this week is the fight that happened between the senator representing Do Not Senatorial District and the Senate President Akpabio. That's Adams Oshiomhole and Akpabio. Both Adams Oshiomhole and Akpabio are former governors. Akpabio served as the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, and Adams Oshiomhole served as a governor in Edo State, both for 8 years. Both are well known, but during the week, there was an attempt to change the rules of the House to say that anyone who is going to become an official of in the next Senate, that's 11th Senate, such a person must be a member of the 10th Senate and must have served more than once. And Adams Oshiomhole is trying to say that is not the standard. That as the fact that as at the time Akpabio joined the Senate and became the main leader of the opposition, he had not served in the Senate before. But let us listen to some of the arguments and the counter arguments that took place on the floor of the House as we got this. I'll be back in about 4 minutes. Let's have it.
Mr. President, point of order. Mr. President, I'm invoking.
Senator Mangunu. Senator Mangunu.
I'm invoking.
Senator
Mr.
Mangunu,
President,
approach the chair. Approach the chair. Approach
I'm
the chair.
invoking order to
Senator Mangunu, approach the chair. And I've said it, people have been in these chambers for 3 years now. We should begin to know the rules of the Senate. I don't want to be accused of executive arrogance. That's why I keep tolerating these things. Please, there's no new senator any longer. There's no new senator any longer. Let us try our best to abide by the rules here. I've said if you're a policeman, you will wear police uniform unless you are in investigation. If you're a soldier, you must wear the army uniform. If you're a senator, you must go by the rules. Am I right? So point of order, you are ruled out of order. Page what?
Mr. President, the single Senator Adams Oshimole, please be guided. Be guided. The single Senator Adams Oshimole, I am now invoking powers conferred to the office of the Chief Whip to order you to resume your seat and be guided by the ruling of the presiding officer. I am saying so in my capacity as the Chief Whip of the Senate. Be guided. Be guided. Be guided. Be guided. I don't want to invoke the powers of the office of the Chief Whip. Be guided. But I have
That was Adams Oshomole and the Senate President in more or less a rowdy session. Subsequently, the Senate President issued a warning to Senator Adams Oshomole. Please listen to it.
We shouldn't just go home, fill form, contest election, come here without knowing anything about the rules. Order 20 sub F says that the Senate President shall interpret the rules. I didn't write this. So, please, Senator Oshomole, for the last time, if you become unruly in the Senate, we will use these same rules to take you out of the Senate. So this is the last warning. So the distinguished Senate.
That was the warning issued to Senator Adams Oshomole. But after that, Adams Oshomole addressed the press and he's made certain remarks. I want you to listen to the remark made by the distinguished Senator Adams Oshomole.
Is that when they say aye, nays, You can't hold your senator responsible for it. You say, I wasn't one of them. I want Nigeria to say, who are those senators who are trying to narrow future leadership to themselves, as if it's a family or traditional rulership? And for me, that is not it. Now, let me say why this thing has serious moral crisis. The Senate president became minority leader on his first day in office. On his first day, when they swore in, on his first term, when he got into the Senate, I think in the 9th or 8th Senate, right? He became a principal officer, minority leader. He's not the one presiding and asking us to change those rules such that even somebody who had done one term, particularly if you came to the court, you can't even be. Number two, as we speak today, the Senate president has not done 8 years in office. Even if you count the previous one plus the current one, it's not yet up to 8 years. So if we pass the rules that you must do 8 consecutive years before you can be Senate president, it means he has to lead by example by vacating, because he's presiding without acquiring the appropriate qualification. But more offensive to me is that as leaders who are product of bylaws, we mustn't make laws to perpetuate anyone. Senator David Mark had the honor and privilege of serving as Senate president for 8 years, not by playing with the rules. Those rules that enabled David Mark to preside for 8 years, what is wrong with them? Those rules that enabled this Senate president to contest for Senate presidency, what is wrong with them? Why changing it now? Because you think that next time, because last time, this rule of water ranking, that's what you require. And it turned out to be the only one from the South, where it was zone 2. So now he feared that more senators will be eligible, which will broaden the competition base. And now he wants to shrunk it. If other people are afraid, I'm not afraid. I am only afraid of my creator. Because I've seen whether you tell the lie, you tell the truth, the date of death, you can't adjust it either forward or backward. That is my life experience. But Nigeria, the beauty of democracy, why that section?
All right, that was Senator Adams Oshiomhole speaking as regards the entirety of the drama that took place on the floor of the Senate for 2 different days this week. Let us now go and listen to another set of drama that happened. Recently, Omoyele Sowore talked about the need to protest the way the network providers across Nigeria deduct people's money, deduct people's money, especially for data and airtime. Please, let us take a listen to this conversation on the floor of the House of Reps this week.
They are not living up to their expectation, or they are not living to protect the interests of the taxpayers in this country. The reason why I said so, you don't need a soothsayer to tell you. If you are making a communication or calls across our boundaries, even to Cameroon Republic here, the quality of the sound and the reception differs with if you are making a call with a subscriber in a Cameroonian border that is within Nigerian boundary territory.
And I'm looking at it that is a sabotage by the network operators, because if you look at their balance sheet, they are making a whole lot of billions in profit, and I think they are satisfied with what they have already without improving on the network. And the regulatory organization NCC has become totally complacent. I don't know. We need to, like the motion of yesterday, need to set up another committee to quickly look at this thing. Because
presently, most of those companies, people that are subscribers can't make phone calls. they've already cut costs. Why is it that all of a sudden we don't have access to calls? They always drop calls permanently. I suggest that the Committee on Communication should thoroughly investigate this and see why these GSM companies are no longer investing in infrastructure, because they've already come up with a low-cost mast sharing collocation policy.
It appears.
All right, that was what transpired on the floor of the House recently, and a statement made by members of the House. From there, let us leave that and address all the issues. Let us, we would listen to some of the comments made by certain persons, including Showore himself, after that discussion on the floor of the House. But right now, let me bring you something that happened yesterday. Two things that happened yesterday. Have you ever heard of anywhere where Christians are trying to remove Jesus from Christianity, or Muslim trying to disassociate Muhammad from Islam? This is what it is, because some group of persons came out and they said that they have removed Peter Obi from the obedient movement. So please, let us take a listen to this.
Formally withdraws recognition and membership status from the following individuals. One, meaning that they are all expelled and remain expelled from the movement as leaders and members respectively. And number one on the list is the former Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, and Alhaji Yunus Atanko, who is holding sway right now. And all other persons appointed under the unauthorized leadership structure that emerged after the 2023 elections. This decision is final and takes effect immediately. Let it be clearly stated that the obedient movement worldwide is not a platform for personal political advancement, nor it is an instrument to be controlled by any individual or group for private gains. It is a people-driven democratic movement built on sacrifice of Nigerians, trust, and collective vision. We therefore call on all members, supporters, institutions, security agencies, most especially the police and the DSS, and the international community to take note of this development and respect the authority of the newly structured leadership of this movement. An executive of the obedient. I'm telling you, if you check the story, if you check the script, we said all other appointees. Remember, the obedient movement was captured by Peter Obi, was hijacked by Peter Obi, and brought someone who has questionable characters to lead the movement. And we say no. This matter has been on ground since the day Yunus Atanko was appointed. But because of how everything is, we're trying to follow up to see how we can settle the issue. So by now, just imagine that obedient movement went well. By now, we could have finished the issues of 2027 and we'll be waiting to be voted. We have the votes already. All we need is to preach for the protection of the votes. And the votes is not about Peter Obi, it's about Nigeria that must work. Not adopted any presidential candidate, presidential aspirant. We are waiting for the electioneering process to carry out itself. After all parties have done their primaries, presented their candidates, INEC lock up their portals, we cannot sit down as an organization and x-ray all the people presented. If Peter Obi remains the best candidate for 2027 general election, he is lucky to be endorsed. We will be happy to do that. We are looking for a Nigeria that is possible. And if Peter Obi is not the candidate, and if Showore is, so be it. If Amechi is, if Atiku is, even if Ahmed Bola Tinubu remains the best, so be it. But we are looking out for a path for a Nigeria that will find peace when it comes to good governance, quality leadership, and the respect for the rule of law. In this regard, the movement formally withdrew.
All right, that was a group of persons who came out to say that they have removed Peter Obi from obedience movement. One of the things that we do in our profession is that we give everyone a voice to speak, no matter how strange what he's saying sounds. Now let us listen to the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. Yesterday, a group of youth went to his house in Abuja to demand that he comes out to contest in the next presidential election. He addressed them and he addressed the press after that. So please listen to the former president and all the things that he said yesterday.
To Mr. President. My brothers and my sisters, first and foremost, let me welcome you to my office in Abuja here and thank you for showing interest in your country. If you have no interest in the country, you will not bother to be here. So I can say that you are showing signs of being patriotic Nigerian. And I will encourage you to continue to be patriotic in the country. It's only patriotic citizens that build their nation. Unpatriotic citizens will destroy their nation, take the money to anywhere to enjoy their life. So you must be patriotic. And things are very, very clear. The key thing we need in this country is peace. So as young people, because most of you here, more than 80% of you are very young people. I don't even know how old some of you were when I was the president. But the key thing is peace in this country, and you will continue to advocate for that. And you continue to advocate for peaceful and credible elections in the country. Because if we don't have peaceful and credible elections, most good citizens will not want to bother to get involved in politics. And as youth, will continue to advocate for that. It's very dear to us, peaceful election. And indeed, you, as young people, must continue to be fully involved in the electoral process, especially your right to vote. I've observed elections in about 14 or more African countries. Some have been there 2 times. And even Southeast Asia. Nigeria have the lowest turnout of elections in every election cycle. We have the highest voters apathy. And it shows that people are not even interested in their election. We have the worst, the least. I've never been to a country that has the low numbers we have in terms of percentage of voters. I think INEC need to do something about it, need to study, get consultants to look at it, and what is the cause, and do something. As young people, you must be involved in the electoral process. If I ask how many of you have your voters cards now, probably 50% of you don't even have voters cards. And you're asking me to go and contest the election. So you must be patriotic, you must participate in the electoral process. Yes, you have asked me to come and contest the next election. Presidential race is not a computer game. But I've heard you, and I'll consult widely. But the most important thing is in Nigeria that the young people will have hope. In Nigeria that will plan for our grandchildren. These countries, people travel abroad to go and enjoy. These things don't happen overnight. Leaders after leaders plan for the grandchildren and build their country. So every year you see things being added and added until they are in this kind of semi-paradise world they enjoy. The jackpot syndrome in Nigeria has to stop. The highest level of disdain shown to Nigerian youths abroad has to stop. Even African countries that we help, African countries that even when we are students, parts of our scholarship monies we are contributing to solve problems in those countries. Nigerians as if we are all bunch of idiots and criminals, because probably we leaders have not been able to build our country, give hope to our young people, and even attract others to come here and work. This is the task that face all Nigerian leaders. These things could be done by any other person, but not necessarily Jonathan. But I've heard you. I will consult, and probably, of course, the race is getting close.
Your Excellency,
Yes.
for many Nigerians within their early 20s and below, it sounds like music to their ears that Nigeria was once the largest economy under your watch. Don't you feel the weight on your shoulder to accede the request of these Nigerians to contest for the presidency of 2027 again?
I thank you. I've heard them, just like I said. You must have heard me. I said that contesting presidency is not a computer game. I have heard from the young people. I will consult. I cannot just wake up and say I want to be the president of Nigeria again. But I'm telling you that I will consult. If there's need to, fine, I will. Thank you.
All right, that was the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, good luck, Ebele Jonathan, speaking there. Let us leave that matter and move into something else right now. Let us move into something different. Now, let us also listen to other things that took place. Let us listen to the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State. Let us hear what he has to say as regards the second term ambition of the current president. Sorry for the loss of audio. Let us quickly move into different topic now. The minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, addressed newsmen on allegations of land grabbing within the FCT. Let us hear from him.
Don't set up for charity. It's for business. How do they carry out business? They can't help us. People pay. We don't have coverages. People pay. Even commercial use, people pay. From some funds, they pay the operational activities and personalities. So what is difficult if somebody saying that you make money from the tap? What was the issue? Remember that during the media chat, the journalists there asked questions that we gave land to ambassador visitors. That we don't talk about the ordinary thing. That this is a misplaced priority by giving that land to people who are not supposed to have land. They know those who are supposed to have. They know those who are not supposed to have. And in my reply, I said, not correct. Every Nigerian who is interested, who wants to do one thing or the other, will apply for million and give them back to do. And I said, for example, one of the major presidents was tenants. And then government allocated land to you. You said the body was not correct, no land was bought, it was allocated to you. Today, you have set up your headquarters channel, which means you carry on business, it's not land that was allocated to you, and you're making money. You're making money. And what is very difficult to give other Nigerians land when they can also, giving them land, they can also set up one thing or the other and also make money for the land allocated. And people should be, we cannot continue to hide the fact. I did not bring up the matter. They were querying that allocating land to ambassador business is a mispriority. That there are poor people that we should do that. So I understand, you see the problem we have with that. We also do not, when you are living in a class house, don't so you were given. Are you one of the poor? You're not one of the poor. So why are you complaining now? And when I saw when they said that they paid the fees, nobody bought land. Nobody buys land from FCT. And when the land is allocated, you pay the percent fee to get your CFO. So when I saw they said fees were paid, nobody bought land from FCT. When you allocate land, it's okay. $20 million to process their CFO. And every year, just like anybody, even this ambassador business, who also pay the same thing. They have allocated that does not mean that they will not pay for processing of the certificates of occupancy. But I give sense that government allocated that. That is something.
Okay, that was the FCT minister right there. Today there was drama in court. Drama in court as Omoyele Sowore appeared in court again, and some security agencies attempted to prevent those who came with him from entering the court. Let us hear the sounds from the rowdy session.
Hey, what's happening here? What's happening here? Hey, Oga, hey, what are you doing? Hey.
Okay, that was what transpired in court. That was a sound of security operatives preventing those who came with Omoyele Sowore from getting into the premises of the Federal High Court. Let us now listen to what the lawyer representing Sowore said after the court took a position. Let's have it. At
the end of the day, my lordship gave a very lengthy ruling, and without evaluating properly the duties we have outlined for the prosecution to establish, my lord held in his ruling that the prosecution has established a prima facie case that warrants us to enter a defense. That is new learning to me. It does not conform to the law as we know it and the requirements or justification for a no-case submission ruling. Upon review of that particular ruling and the circumstances preceding this particular or culminating into the proceedings of today, more so the antecedents of this case and the other two sister cases that is pending before his lordship, particularly the one that has been decided by my lord in the civil aspect of this criminal trial. We felt that it is imperative at this stage that we consult with the defendant to decide appropriately. Happily, the defendant was on the same footing, and he informed the court that putting into cognizance the fact and the circumstances culminating into today's proceedings, that it is our honest belief that another judge ought to try or attempt to try, or another judge ought to decide this matter going forward. It is the honest belief that all of these facts have shown that this court has a predetermined purpose as far as this case is concerned. It was on that basis that the defendant applied that another judge should hear this matter moving forward. we agreed with the defendant that at this juncture, this matter ought to be transferred back to the CJ for reassignment to another judge, which is the appropriate thing to do in a matter of this nature. His Lordship has asked us to come with a proper and a formal application so that parties can prove argument on the date that such a motion will come up. We will consult further amongst ourselves, the legal team, and with the defendant, and come back before His Lordship. Although His Lordship imposed a date, which was the 19th of May 2026, and we informed His Lordship that on that date we are built to appear in 2 separate trials before the same court and before judges who are even senior to His Lordship, Justice Umar. But His Lordship still proceeded to adjourn the matter despite our registering our displeasure and non-availability for that day to him in open court. We also reviewed that particular aspect of this issue and respond accordingly. However, whatever it is, just yesterday, the NBA issued a statement condemning the eagerness of state institutions, particularly those with prosecutorial powers, to at the inkling of politically exposed persons consistently be in a hurry to charge Nigerians under the obnoxious Cybercrimes Act 2026 as amended, particularly Section 24 thereof. The NBA noted, like we've always submitted and insist upon, that charges of this nature has an effect, a sizzling and a chilling effect on the right of Nigerians to critique those in government. We are now at a crossroad in this country where the government has decided to impugn on the rights and liberties of Nigerians, where the government has decided to abandon governance. And whenever any Nigerian has the temerity to challenge such an action, the state actors would hurriedly arrest such a critic and charge them to court. This is not democracy. In a country where the government has not implemented its budget for the past 3 years, in a country where Nigerians are being kidnapped daily, humongous funds that this government has budgeted for those activities and jobs, in a country where Nigerians pay more for darkness than they pay for lights, in a country where a court just convicted a former minister of power for stealing over 33.5 billion naira at the expense of the Nigerian people. When Nigerians now complain about these injustices and the gravity of this very serious national question, the state actors try to use the instrumentalities of state apparatus, using the same taxpayers' monies that were budgeted or should be budgeted for infrastructural development, to hang and to deprive such persons from the right to so speak. Is this the democracy that Nigerians elected and voted for? Is this the democracy that Nigerians are yearning for? Why would the government be in a hurry to condemn and charge to court those who simply ask that governance should be for the people? Another clear case is the case of our comrade brother, Justice Crack. Justice Crack simply exposed corruption as far as military funding and expenditures are concerned, as relates to the feeding and the allowances given to these soldiers. In a Senate crimes, the officers responsible for this feeding and for the welfare of the soldiers would have been summoned to explain what happened to the humongous monies that were budgeted for those feeding. They never did. The authorities went after the same person, the whistleblower, who should have been honored, given a national honor for exposing these ills in governance. And the same DSS, who has no prosecutorial powers under any law in Nigeria, is the same institution that was vested with the right to file a charge against such a Nigerian citizen. There was no investigation. There was no investigation report. None whatsoever. The army simply kidnapped this young man, tortured him, and handed him over to the DSS to prosecute.
To cover up their crime.
To cover up the atrocities that this young man has brought to the fore. What was Mr. Omoyele's issue in this matter? They are not comfortable with the fact that he speaks truth to power and he challenges state institutions to be responsible and to be accountable to the Nigerian people.
That was Marshal Abubakar Esquire speaking as regards the trial of the publisher of Sarara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore. Lastly, let us take a listen to the Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, on the performance of President Bola Tinubu.
Mindful of what I say here. We are here as Nigerians, and secondly as members of the All Progressives Congress, to submit this very priceless nomination and expression of interest from our dear President and leader, His Excellency Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as he seeks to lead us for another 4-year term. Through thick and thin, the President has proved his mettle and has shown the world that his capacity and resolve to pull the nation out of the world's remains and peace.
Called out the last strike for today. Thank you for joining us this week, and next week, God willing, same time, same station, you'll meet us again. My name is Alaba Adeyemi. Keep staying conscious and keep following the events in our country. Our country will get better in a lifetime. Thank you very much, and bye.